It is the Soccer Down Here post-game show with Atlanta United season kicking off against Birmingham Legion. John here, Maddie there. Cast of Thousands coming up in just a little bit. First and foremost, thanks to all of you guys who are here tonight. You made it through the monsoon. All right, Maddie, let me ask you this. Did you check the weather report before you came over today?
No, absolutely not. I knew it was going to be raining, but I didn't know it was going to be that. I was just happy that we were safe inside when the monsoon hit.
Well, yeah, you were safe inside.
I was safe. I was good. So
a lot of folks here were in the monsoon in and of itself. All right, so I checked the weather. I have my phone. I checked a particular cable network's website. 17% chance of rain before the match started, dropping down to 10%, 9, 8, etc. We all know about that 10%, don't we? And now we're drying out. Here's the rundown of what is going to happen here at Ghost Train. Maddie and I are going to kind of give you a 30,000-foot look here in just a little bit. Bat and leadoff is going to be Jay Heaps, Grand Exalted Poobah, President and General Manager of the Birmingham Legion. Jason Longshore, play-by-play. Atlanta United 2, color for Atlanta United. He's going to be dropping by in just a little bit, the Atlanta United coverage. Our friends from the at the USL show, Kaylor Hodges is here. Tyler Pilgrim is here as well from our friends with Dirty South Soccer. He's going to give the dirty perspective. Is that true? And then Jason is going to come back for the caboose, and Scott Flood's going to come by as well to thank all of you guys as well. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I almost feel like Jerry Reed and Smokey and the Bandit. Long way to go in a short time to get there. 30,000-foot view. What did you think from today? I
liked it. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I think what I enjoy most about all of that, especially with the preseason, is I like getting to see the team play. You know, getting to see all the new signings, have all of them play together. But I really liked getting to see the Atlanta United 2 kids and the Academy kids come out there and play because they were going crazy in the last 15 minutes. I mean, the Academy kids, they were squaring up. And I mean, I love seeing stuff like that. And also big shout out to Birmingham Legion. I mean, I really loved watching their side play. They were very aggressive and on all fronts. And it was a lot of fun to watch them play as well. So I thought it was a good day of soccer for me. I liked it a lot.
No dilly, no dally zone. Jay, come on in here. President and General Manager, Birmingham Legion, Jay Heaps. Let me move a chair. Man still has hops. Well done. Go for it. You're all good. Thumbs up. There we go. Where is it? There it is.
All right, we're going.
All right.
Live.
First off, thanks.
We got cameras too. I love this.
Yeah, this is all over the place.
All right, good.
First off, great to see you again.
Great to see you guys. Thank you guys for being back again. We love this partnership here that we're starting to create back and forth with Atlanta. We love it. So it's fun to see you guys here.
All right, so let me ask you the 30,000-foot question.
Okay.
2-1 result, obviously, and not necessarily first time out of the blocks. You're looking at win, loss, that kind of a thing. But from 30,000 feet, what'd you take away from today?
Well, I thought, we're all doing the same thing. A lot of subs, a lot of young players getting their opportunities. So for us, it was about the first 45 minutes was more of our core players that we've had over the last couple of seasons with a couple new signings out there. And then taking a look at some of the younger players that are trying to transition into our roster. So it was a good first outing. We've got a lot to improve on. It was great atmosphere. The storm came in, but you could feel the crowd energy pick back up.
Yeah.
First out of the gate, we were excited that, we were able to test ourselves against a great team like Atlanta.
Now let's talk about the support that you guys had out there, your supporter, your fans. I mean, how great was it of a turnout to see all of them show up for this preseason match and getting to kind of set the stage for the start of the season?
Yeah, it's so fun. We got some great, our supporters group, they're live. Both sides, we have two sides, they're going, there's drums the whole time. You can feel their energy, and we're really excited that they're, the echo. Is that me? All right.
I'd blame me.
But you can feel that energy, and they've been waiting for to be able to play another MLS team, and they just really see our players play against them. But then we had a great turnout from some season ticket holders as well. This game is included in the season ticket package, so you could really feel our energy from our season ticket holders as well.
I want to ask about one family that's attached to the Legion roster today in particular. When you called up Ma and Pa Trialist and said, I need to have your entire family here today to play for me, I mean, let's see, you had Trialist 2, Trialist 6, Trialist 8, Trialist 20, Trialist 25. What was that phone call like when you called Ma and Pa Trialist? And it's like, I need your entire family here. I know you're all good at the sport of soccer.
It's a good point. No, it was, and that was really Tommy, our head coach, connection. But we knew, this is earlier in the preseason than we typically start. MLS just keeps getting, every time I talk to, so Garth Lagerwey and Carlos Bocanegra are good friends, and we always talk about when they're going to play. This year, Carlos was like, I think it needs to be in January. And I thought, oh, God, our roster's still in production. We don't play our opening game until mid-March. So we had to kind of rely on some trialists. But there are a few players tonight that trained all week that we didn't think would make our roster, showed well enough. We thought in the second half there's a couple players that we're going to keep around for another week that have a potential of making the roster.
You mentioned rosters. I mean, let's talk about Finn Callaway. You guys signed him yesterday. I mean, talk to me about his signing, what you guys did to get him to come here, and what you guys are expecting for him this season.
Well, Finn is really one of our true homegrown players. He actually lives a mile and a half from where my house is in the town we live in. So I've seen him grow up and play. He was actually played at the local high school that my son played at. So I've seen him grow up. He's only a junior in high school, but he's a true player that we see, growing into the game and being able to get tonight. Tonight was his first experience. He's been training with us for a couple of weeks, but he was finally signed yesterday to that academy contract. But be able to get on the field and perform well, and I'll be honest with you, he carried himself well, had some great touches, and we're excited about his development. What
was the biggest lesson from last year that you carried forward to get ready for this year?
Oh man, we have to stay healthy. We had some. We were the best and worst team all year long. We could blow a team out and play unbelievable, and then we'd have a drop off the following week. So consistency is the key, and we have a roster of players that we think are good enough to win and beat anybody, but we have to have the depth and the consistency not to drop points when we don't need to.
Follow up. Enzo Martinez at the age of 62 is doing amazing things right now.
Totally.
He's one of the true Hall of Fame pests in USL Championship.
He really is, and he's knowing him off the field. He couldn't be a nicer person, great guy, and when you see him on the field, everyone's like, oh, like we talk about one of the radio shows here at BMR. Scott Register, who runs a great show. When we signed him, he's like, I don't know if I'll ever like him because I hated him so much watching him play against you guys. 2 weeks into his time here, he's like, he's my favorite person he just is that kind of person off the field. Great guy, and some of them we've had now. This is his third season with us, and you said it. He's 33, but in his mind,
sure he is.
Age is a number, right? That's all it is. He just keeps getting younger. He's Benjamin Button going the other way.
It's like Benjamin Button for soccer.
That's right.
Maddie, go for it.
Now, listen, I just have to know, where can I get one of these gold jerseys? I saw that, and I mean, I want one.
All right.
Where can I get one?
That Lady Electra
I need one
kit
right
is
now.
strong.
Lady Electra. So what was great this year is we were able to transition to Hummel. Hummel's been a great partner because it's allowing us to make authentic jerseys for Birmingham. So like you said, Lady Electra, she's on the Alabama Power Building. She looks over the city of Birmingham. Golden, strong, powerful woman. So we wanted to get her on the kit. We think the gold it's our very first gold kit. So we have 3 more kits to come out over time, but we're going to really make them authentic to Birmingham.
What was the team's reaction to that kit?
They loved it. They've seen it for the last couple of weeks. We released it the other day, but what they really like is the white sleeves and the white shorts, but then the gold really stands out.
How much thought went into that idea? I mean, how much blood and sweat and tears and toil and trouble did you sit there and go, okay, I like this version. Let's tweak this. What about this? When did this thought process start?
It took longer than I probably should talk about because I personally put a lot of time and energy in it because it was the first time where we could start with a blank template and create something that we knew was going to be our very first launch. Everyone was asking us to do gold, and we just couldn't get a gold that fit from Nike. It just didn't match right, and so we were able to go to the exact color scheme that we have and make this molten gold and create a jersey out of it.
Strong.
Wow.
It was
That's
fun.
awesome.
It was cool.
Now let's looking ahead into this upcoming season. What are your expectations for your squad for this new season? What do you want to see? And I mean, what can fans expect from this side?
Well, we have to. Last year, like I said, we were saying before, we have a very talented group. We're not as deep as we wanted to be last year, so we need to be deeper. Try to stay as healthy as possible, which obviously you can't control. But what I want our team to do is I want our home games. Like we let too many points get away from us at home. We could win on the road and make up for it, but we need to win more games at home. We need to be almost unbeatable at home because that's where MLS, at the top leagues, when you win at home and you get your points on the road where you can, is you're a really challenging team. And then you get a home playoff game. And for us, that's what we need. We were on the road last year. We won our first playoff game away. Second playoff game was a tough environment. But if we had that game at home, there's no question in my mind we would have won. So we need to make sure we have more home wins and to allow us to have a home playoff game.
What have you learned about yourself as a front office guy since you started here in Birmingham? How have you, I guess, I don't want to just, you continue to advance in your thought processes and become more experienced. What have you learned about this whole experience from your perspective?
Well, it's always learning, right? I think, my perspective when I was a player and then you transition to a coach and there's a huge learning curve there and kind of how you see the game. And then now as a GM, when I was a coach, I couldn't watch a game from up high because it just seemed too slow. It just felt like you weren't in the action. But now sitting up higher, being able to, see what our roster needs, where we need to be able to build. But for me, it's really making sure that I have a great relationship with our coaching staff, going in and understanding what they're looking for out of the team, because we can, I can have an idea for a team, but if it's not exactly what we want to do together, then it doesn't make sense. So when we sign players, it's always a collaboration. We talk about it. How's this player going to impact us? How's it going to impact the current group of players we have? So for me, it's a very back and forth conversation. When I was a coach, I always wanted to have a GM that had been a coach. And that's what I think I bring, is that I've sat in that seat. So I have a perspective and we can work together on a collaboration.
Absolutely. And I mean, even just touching on that, you kind of touched a bit on the differences. What are some of the similarities between a head coach as well as a GM that kind of helps you in making these decisions as a GM for the club?
Well, I think one of the things I think I took away from being a coach is I understood the locker room, that really understood the cadence of a professional locker room, which is sometimes you got players that are really good players, but they may not be great locker room fits. And you're a GM, and while the kid's really talented, but the head coach keeps saying, look, there's an issue off the field. There's some chemistry problems. He might look good in one moment, but he's bringing the players down. And really trusting your coaching staff to know when a player is not just good on the field, but maybe he's not a great locker room player. So can you build off of that? Because a GM, I meet a player and we have a good conversation. I see the person out of that, but I don't know how he's interacting with his teammates. So you have to really, that's what I think as a GM, I trust the coaching staff, because I know that they have a much better set of data points of how many interactions they have with the player to say, hey, this kid is a good locker room fit or a bad locker room fit.
When you look at the USL Championship this season, last game of the year, Charleston, Phoenix, changes happened all around the league. Some names have shifted. Names have gone to different places. You got a new team in Rhode Island now with Michael Parkhurst, and Cano Smith is a part of that up there.
They stole him from us. He was our assistant.
Uh-huh.
Parky was my roommate on the road when I played for the Revs and he played for the Revs. Parkhurst was my roommate, so I know him all too well. You want Parky stories?
Yeah. What's a good Michael Parkhurst story? Because I think next Friday at 9:30 Eastern, he's on the show.
Okay.
So what's a good Michael Parkhurst story that we can shock him with?
Since
he's a mogul in training up there in Rhode Island.
This is so good. All right, first one. Have you ever seen his first goal? It might have been his only goal, but his first goal as a professional, he scored from half field.
I did
at
see
Toronto.
this. Oh yeah.
And by the way, I kid you not, I run over to him because I didn't know Parky could kick a ball that far, because he never kicked the ball over 10 yards. He would just pass it. I was like, Parky, I was right next to him, like, Parky, you need to kick it further up the field because you keep putting the ball, good passes to me, but I'm not as good as you. I need to clear it. But so that was the first I've ever seen him kick a ball. And when he shot it, I literally was like, no, oh, and it just went right in. But no, Parky is one of the great human beings in any sport. I actually tried when he came back in. He went to Columbus. I tried like hell to get him to go to New England. It couldn't get him there because he didn't want to play on the turf in New England. Yeah. So he went to Columbus. But man, what a great guy! I love him. That's a great guy.
We're going to hold that story for Friday next time when he's on the air. A couple more minutes here with Jay Heaps, president and GM of the Birmingham Legion. Go, Maddie.
I mean, you told Parkhurst to kick it far, and he did.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean,
I never thought he was going to score from there, and I will be honest with you, I was jealous at that point because I wanted to score from half field. But the other thing about Parkhurst, no one knows, he was one of the most intelligent soccer players I'd ever seen. He would go an entire season without a yellow card. When he first got there, now I'd be suspended for games for yellow cards. And and it was because he would be in a position where he never had to step in and make a bad play. If he was kind of like Iceman in Top Gun, where he just read the game, stepped in and won the ball when he did. If he didn't have to get there, he wouldn't foul and never got beat. And he played a whole career that way. And I think he had probably the least amount of yellow cards I've ever seen. But as a center back, that's unheard of. But it shows you how smart he was as a player.
And I mean, talking about the development, obviously when you played in MLS, and then obviously to now. What has that development been like from a player who played kind of in the early seasons, but now looking at it now ahead, and even in the NPL team as well? I mean, that development in soccer from all over.
I look at it now, and I tell this a lot because it has. MLS has gone to the stratosphere. The players they've brought in, I think some key moments were 8 years ago when Atlanta United said, hey, we're putting a team, or MLS is putting a team in Atlanta. I remember thinking, look, I actually just told the story today to Garth Lagerwey. I said, I remember being a player in Miami Fusion. Garth Lager and I were teammates in the first iterations of Miami, right? And we would go to the Atlanta Silverbacks, and there wasn't 50 people in the stadium, maybe 100 at the most. And I remember them saying, we're going to go to Atlanta. And I was, I think I was just starting to coach at the time. And I said, oh, man, that's going to be a tough market. Sure enough, it's like lightning in a bottle. And what I think when they came in, and then you had Seattle a little bit before them, obviously, and the Portlands, but they started to go from MLS 1.0 to 2.0. Atlanta took it to the next level. And now I look at these players, and you can see how much better they're getting. And the better players coming in, it's making the younger players have to be better. And on top of that, I look at USL, and now they're getting better, right? Because we're seeing a lot of fall off, like the Enzo Martinez's, the Mikey Lopez's. Guys that would otherwise be in Major League Soccer are not there because that league's taking a step up. So it kind of goes up like this. I look at USL now, and it reminds me of what MLS was in 2005 and 6. It's not that, look, that's where USL is, where MLS is closer to the, La Liga and top leagues in the world. I like seeing them go higher because I know our talent level is going to keep falling right in behind.
When it comes to the talent pool in USL Championship right now, I think Fidel Barajas is another example of young players that get to develop in USL Championship and move to that next level. One of our viewer, listener, supporters, Dell, down in Charleston, wants to know, do you think more players should get a chance to move up from USL Championship and head toward Major League Soccer?
Sure. I think that's the pathway for a lot of players. I think you're also seeing European countries and clubs looking at USL Championship players. I know we have a young player, Matthew Corcoran, who this whole offseason he played in the U17 national team with Barajas in different countries, clearly, but both of them were high on a lot of European teams' transfer markets, and so I was dealing with calls on him as a young player. So I think Major League Soccer is seeing there's talent. So that there's young American players coming up that maybe otherwise wouldn't have made a MLS roster or were outside a certain homegrown market, which is a great pathway. But we also have some young international players. Like today I was in I know John Spector and I know Carlos, and they're always looking at some of our young international players that we go grab from, our Tommy and I have great connections in Ghana and different parts of in the world, that we grab one or two young players that we think we can turn into a player. And so I think that pathway is there as well. But yeah, I believe that the USL Championship is a great league for development, but it's also got real professionals in there. So that development isn't given. You have to earn your development. And I think that's the difference between those young players that are carving they're in the locker room fighting against guys that need to play to feed their family. That's a little different than MLS Next Pro because it's much more of you make mistakes, you learn how to play. USL Championship, there are stakes matter, and that you can see that development happening, and that's why I think we're that one step closer for those players to get into MLS.
Maddie, last question from you.
Oh goodness, I mean, geez, I wasn't ready.
On the pressure.
I wasn't ready. I mean, just overall, it's been really fun watching Birmingham Legion. I'm definitely going to follow you guys, obviously, through this next couple of for this season as well. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
You just earned yourself a gold jersey. I got to get you a gold jersey.
Listen,
she talked her way into it, didn't she? All right, Maddie, you're getting yourself one.
Just saying.
I'm going to just go over here for
just
the rest of the segment.
Text me what size.
I will. I promise. Right. After the show's done, I will. I promise. 100%.
I'm getting you one. That'll be fun. Okay. All right, what was your question? What size? No.
So, what sizes do you have? No. I mean, just looking ahead for the rest of the season, how do you want this club to grow, but how do you want to grow with the club as well as the team continues to grow on?
It's great. That is an awesome question. You saved that one for last. That was perfect. I would love to see. So, our biggest hurdle is we drew well tonight. We draw well when we're playing Major League Soccer competition. We had 18,000 when we played against Inter Miami. We had 15,000 when we played against Charlotte FC. I want to see our fans continue to come out when we're playing against Louisville or against Tampa. So for me, it's a push for Birmingham fans to not just come out when we're playing against major league teams, come out when we're playing against our rivals and teams that we need to beat to finish higher in the playoffs or in the league standings. So I want to continue to grow that, and then on top of that, I want to continue to show our fans that we're trying to get better. We're trying to be innovative in who the players we sign. We have a couple of other players that we're going to announce signings in the next week or two that we think are very innovative and can play the game at a higher level than we've been able to play it at. So I want our fans to ride that journey with us, but I want them to start really showing out and bringing more people out to the game because it's a fun game when the bigger the crowd, the more exciting it is, and you can feel it.
And I know that Ma and Pa trialists will be happy when you call them and sit there and dial them up and go, we're taking 2 or 3 of your sons this season.
There you go. That's right.
Jay, my friend, it's always great to catch up with you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Jay Heaps, President, General Manager of the Birmingham Legion. Jay's going to tag out. And we will see if Jason Longshore has caught his breath for about 15 seconds. So Jason had a match to call, and now he gets to come and hang out on the post-game show and talk a little Atlanta United.
I didn't have to do a post-game show today because we actually have now, with 92.9 The Game, we have expanded pre- and post-game. So with 92.9 The Game in Atlanta, we have an hour of pregame coverage and a full hour of postgame coverage now, even when we're on the road. Thanks to Abe Gordon, thanks to Garrett Chapman. So very cool. You guys who are Atlanta fans, Birmingham fans, please check it out. I think we are the only MLS team that is doing 4 hours of broadcast every match day.
I think you are. And it's been great to see 92.9 The Game invest the way that it has ever since day one that Atlanta United came online.
Well, the only way we get to do that is if people listen. And the ratings have been great. You know, the streaming numbers are great. And that's why we get to keep doing it. And that's why it's consistently expanded. We didn't have pregame or postgame year one. We added that in a minimal capacity the first year. Then it's expanded over time. And now it's 4 hours on a match day.
And I mean, as someone who's been following since the inaugural season, even just watching it from games, like I remember going to games and after the game, watching you and Mike, go online and talk about everything that happened with the game. It was like a tradition for me and my father when we would do that. So
I'm sorry if you heard
great.
me yelling about referees way too much.
I mean, it makes you feel any better. We were yelling at the referees in the car as well. So it goes both ways. But to see how it's grown in the level that it has from both, I mean, it's great to see, especially from someone who's grew up in Atlanta and who didn't really have that soccer heavy thing, and having that, I'm blessed in any way that I can. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's the nature of what we're doing. And what we try to do as well, Mike and I and everybody at the radio station, we try to pass that on to other markets. And this isn't just an MLS thing. I think in USL, the next step is radio. You know, radio is still a very powerful tool, and it is the most personal way for a team to connect via their matches and pre and post games with their fan base. So I think every team in this country should be looking at what radio looks like for them. It might not be on a station like 92.9 The Game. It might be on an AM station. It might be online. But radio is such an important way to follow the game. I mean, we've talked about it before. We've talked about it. You know, I grew up listening to Larry Munson. I grew up listening to Skip Carey and Pete Van Wieren, and I love consuming sports on the radio. The way we kind of consume sports today, and especially this one, I think the radio and a stream, they're kind of the same thing at this point. So it's the way that you call it and the way that you just the passion that you try to bring to it. But more than anything, if you can't connect with your fan base and your potential listeners, it's not going to go anywhere. We've been lucky that this fan base has embraced it.
So you got the chance to connect with them today.
Yes.
There was a match 1.7 miles away from here.
1.7?
1.7.
Okay. It took me 11 minutes to get from the stadium to here afterwards.
It took us a little longer than that because I couldn't find the crossover on the railroad tracks to make the right-hand turn to get into the parking lot.
Why am I not surprised
I went
John
right
got
past.
lost?
I went right past it, and then I had to come back down the road, and then I was like, I still can't find it, making a left-hand turn. So I went back to the stop sign, turned left again, and came in the back way. That I could do because there were stop signs and like lighting and divided roads. That I could figure out.
All that's overrated.
But we love, by the way, Ghost Train and what they've been able to do in the time since we were here last.
Yeah, love the expansion. Love the setup here. Thanks to everybody with Ghost Train who's taking great care of us today.
First exhibition game today. Season starts. You and Mike are going to be busy with the next handful of matches.
Yep.
You're going to be in Athens next week to call that one against Memphis 901 and some old friends. What did you take away from today other than a monsoon that you were shielded from?
I mean, look, it's the first preseason game for both teams, so you have to be very measured in what you take away from it. There's a lot of time between now and the opener. I think for Atlanta, 30-minute shifts, you're not going to get a lot of rhythm. I was really impressed with the first group. And look, that's the most even portion of the match because it's a group against a group opening whistle. I think what the Atlanta group did was they showed a lot of patience. They showed a lot of control. They settled things down. They controlled the possession, and they controlled that 30 minutes. About 15 minutes through, they really started to play in the Birmingham half pretty exclusively. Great goal from Yorgos. Derek Williams, I thought, was great on that set piece. Stian Gregerson was also excellent in the initial run to the near post, but then keeping the play alive, winning it back in the middle third. And then Shonde Silva, who ends up getting clipped, the ball to Nick Firmino and letting Nick have a 1v1 and see what you can make of it. And Firmino, with the confidence that he's playing with, got the goal out of it. So really impressive. The second group, then Birmingham had the advantage because you've got a group coming in cold and they have to meet a team that's played 30 minutes and has a rhythm. And then you had a downpour and a monsoon and whatever else you want to call all that rain that came down. And it was disruptive. I thought the second group for Atlanta struggled to find their rhythm. The second half of that was better. And in the third group was where you had 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds for Atlanta out of the academy playing, and they couldn't control the ball in terms of control and possession, but they were able to hold on and get what they needed to get out of it. Make no mistake, this was a game for Atlanta where you're trying to build fitness and you're trying to build chemistry, but they did not want to draw or lose. And that last group, mostly kids, to be able to grind out it's a result. Are we going to remember this in a month? No. But that gives them confidence, and it also gets the team off the right foot on preseason.
Absolutely. And I think one of the biggest things that at least I've noticed from being an Atlanta fan the past couple of years is just us having a lot of talent forward and then us not being able to close out those games, us having the issue of defending and not having someone back there when that opposing team comes up and is ready for the strike. So what was your analysis from that first half of just how our defense looked, how we were able to look in that back four?
So out of who we saw out of the two professional groups, the kids were actually all right in the back. Efrain Morales was with that group, and he had a great year with Atlanta United too last year. He was very composed. Caden Moore, I thought, did pretty well for his first game as a 16-year-old playing at that level. I thought Noah Cobb played excellent in the second group, put out a lot of fires. Cobb looks like he's ready to take a step forward. His speed is going to be a big help. He might end up factoring in as a utility fullback at times because he could play wide if you need it. That might get him on the field a little bit more with the first team. Stian Gregerson, we've been waiting to see what he could look like. He's had very minimal training with the first team, waiting on the visa. The thing you get about him immediately is presence. He is a big dude, but he also is fast, covers a lot of ground, and he's very intense. And look, Miles Robinson, legend for Atlanta United. He always will be the first draft pick, national team, all the success. Gregerson is a very different kind of player. He does some of the things that Miles does. So he's got that speed. He can cover the ground. You can still play a really high line, but he has a different intensity. And when you think about some of the issues that Atlanta had defensively last year, intensity could be one of those issues because you'd have a turnover, you'd be slow to step to somebody, things like that. That's not purely on Miles. I'm just saying that stuff's contagious. And I thought Gregerson kind of brought that in the first group. So I like where they are defensively. When you get Caleb Wiley back healthy, you have Brooks Lennon. I would expect it'll be Abram, Gregerson in the middle, Lennon on the right, Wiley on the left. That feels a little more secure. And think back to the beginning of last year, you had Lennon and Wiley playing winger a lot, not fullback. When they moved to fullback, it looked better. Now you get a full preseason, Wiley, with the exception with the injury. You get a preseason to work with them with that back line. I think the defense will be better in 24.
Two names that I wanted to talk a little bit about, a little further up front.
Okay.
We got to see him last year with Atlanta United too. Nicholas Firmino, Luke Brennan. When you got the chance to see them today, obviously the really nice goal by Nick for the second one on the board. Luke and Nick, once again, they're integrating well as a part of that progression that we've anticipated.
Yeah, I asked Gonzalo about Firmino and what he thought of his game today because we've seen Nick Firmino play as a 6. We've seen him play as an 8. We've seen him play as a 10. We've seen him play as a winger. We've seen him play as a forward. That utility kind of player is going to be good for him. He's really your number 10 behind Thiago Almada right now. To get a goal early is great for his confidence. This is a guy who had an amazing season with Atlanta United 2. He had a very good season his first year with Atlanta United 2, but he played mostly in a more of a double pivot, deeper. Last year, played higher up the field, put the team on his back at times. Really impressed with Nick Firmino's overall game because he scored 16 goals last year, but he also had 6 assists. He can create for others. He's a complete player. And look, he's a very different kind of number 10 than Thiago Almada. Obviously, he's not going to have the same number of assists, but he's more goal dangerous in some ways because of playing higher up the field. He can be back to goal. He can hold guys off. He's a little bit bigger. He's going to be a player who I think will turn some heads in MLS this season because I think he's going to get opportunities to do that off the bench and in spot starts.
And even talking to him, got to talk to him a bit at halftime when he came off after that first group went. And I asked him a question a bit about the AU2 players who did play with him, with McFadden, with Brennan, all of them up there, and talked about that chemistry there. And he mentioned that it was a lot of, familiarity. They play together, they know each other well, and that integrating with the first team. So that was a bit of the struggle that's still happening, but it's getting there. So what do you think about that integration and getting those players in, but also the development from the Atlanta United 2 side of it all and getting them in there?
It's so early. I mean, it'll come in preseason and that's why I think you saw a big mix and match with the way the 2 professional groups were set up. It wasn't really like group 1 and in group 2 as one's higher than 2. It was 2 groups. And you had Lennon and Abram with the second group, for example. So the idea, and I think Gonzalo kind of subscribes to the same way that like I think about it at this portion of the year. You want to create little societies on the field. So that right side with McFadden behind Brennan, they know each other. They can play together. They have some chemistry. Firmino can naturally combine there a little bit. You got guys, Saba and Brooks, for example, in the second group. They have chemistry. You were able to build some of that. So I think that's why you put some of the groups together the way that you did. Overall, you just have to keep getting these games. You can work on the training pitch, and it's important, and it's going to help the team. But these games in preseason, all away from Atlanta, you have to deal with different things. Today you had to deal with conditions. And it's not just go out and play and whatever. Something Gonzalo stressed after the game. He wants them to find ways to win these games. So when you can build that chemistry, you're going to be in a better position to win these preseason matches and start the season on the right foot.
Talked to Aiden McFadden as well when he came up too, and he was we were asked the question. He asked us. We talked a bit about his relationship with Gregerson.
Yep.
And they talked. Apparently, they got food the other day. They got to know each other a bit better, and his quote, and I will quote it directly. He told me Norwegians were awesome. So take that with what you will. People.
Aiden's awesome. Aiden is really one of the good guys. I'm glad he's back with this group, and he's got a potential for a big year playing as a spot starter and playing off the bench.
What did you think of Javier Armas being thrown in the deep end of the pool?
I thought Javi was great. Javier Armas is a player who came from Oregon State, 77 games there. Came up through the Deportivo La Coruña Academy. He played like a Spanish midfielder would play. Very technical, very good on the ball, very clean. Athletically, MLS is going to be a jump for him. That's going to be a challenge. He's with Atlanta United 2 this season. And they drafted him. When you draft guys in the super draft, if you're Atlanta United, you're looking for something that you can build on for them to make that jump to the next level. It's hard. College to pro, there's a big gap. College to MLS, a really big gap. Javier Armas, I thought, showed technically he can make that jump. Physically is going to be the challenge for him. I thought he did all right. I thought he handled it pretty well. And when you're so technical, talk about chemistry, when you're so good on the ball, I think what you saw is players then trusted him. And they were able to give passes to him in tight spots and dangerous spots, knowing he could play through it because they saw his work on the ball.
And we talked a lot about Atlanta United. Moving ahead to the Birmingham Legion side,
Yep.
What was your analysis of their squad during this preseason matchup?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Birmingham because I was really impressed. I remember 2 years ago when Enzo Martinez signed, and we were here and we did this show, I think before the game that time. And I said Enzo was going to be a guy that you all would fall in love with. Yep. I love Enzo Martinez. Such a great fit for this team. And I was dying on our broadcast because 20 minutes in, it's a preseason game.
He's already woofing and
he's all over the referee.
He's in mid-season form.
I'm like, he might not be in mid-season form physically, but he's in mid-season form with his mouth, that's for sure.
Yes.
Enzo's great. You need guys like that. He impressed me a ton, but I've always loved Enzo. Love to see some of the guys with Georgia connections, some of the guys who were on trial. Of course, Tony Tiente, a player we know really well who played in the second half. A lot of minutes with Atlanta United too over the years. Georgia Gwinnett, Grizzly, really good player technically. I think he has the ability to stick. He's got to earn that spot, but I think he's got the ability to stick. The player who impressed me the most was Itaka. I thought Itaka was a problem in this game. So good down the right side. Itaka, I know he came in late last season from Las Vegas, but he might be the breakout player for Birmingham, and he might be the breakout player in USL Championship this year.
Rapid fire, because we got Kaylor and Tyler coming up in just a little bit. Sounds like one of those buddy cop movies.
Kaylor. The other one I wanted to mention too is Pasher, and Pasher's another one I've always liked.
Yeah,
as
Tyler
well.
Pasher. Yeah.
I know at one point he was technically an Atlanta United player with the crazy trade after the end of the 2017 season. We had his rights. He wasn't going to play for Atlanta. It was all about roster moves and stuff. When he became available, when Houston and Red Bull didn't keep him, and I thought they made mistakes, both of them, I was hoping he would come to Atlanta. Pasher was so good today, in my opinion, dropping and connecting the team. Pasher's another great guy to build around. There's a lot of talent with this team. I think this is going to be maybe Birmingham's best year ever with the talent that they have.
All right, that's on tape. Couple of questions, rapid
fire. What you got?
It's both from Del Schaefer down in Charleston. He wants to know who the number one keeper is and who impressed you the most today.
The number one keeper right now, I think, is Brad. And I think it's because of longevity. I think it's because of leadership. I don't know if he'll be the number one captain or number one leader or the captain by the end of preseason. I think that's the competition battle. And Josh Cohen didn't come in to sit the bench. Josh Cohen's a guy who started games in Europe. Josh Cohen is a very talented player. Goalkeepers, the goalkeeper room, they're going to push each other, but they also want the minutes. They also want to play. So Brad's not going to give that position up without a fight. Preseason is going to determine it. And honestly, I don't know if even who starts day one in Columbus is who starts at the end of the year.
Right.
But I think Brad is the number one going in. Who impressed me the most today? Our player of the match on radio was Nick Firmino. I thought Firmino was so good in that first 30 minutes. The player who, if you want to really get into the meanings of words, who impressed me the most Cooper Sanchez. Cooper Sanchez with the last group, 15 years old.
Yep.
15 years old, and he did not care about who he was going to fight with, who he was going to wrestle with, who he was going to take a tackle at. He didn't care. He did not care. Cooper Sanchez was fearless. 15. Made his debut in MLS Next Pro last year, 15 and like a month. The youngest player to ever play for Atlanta United 2. I think we're going to see more of him with Atlanta United 2 this year. And he played as a 10. He can play as an 8. He can play as a 6. Cooper impressed me the most out of what we knew coming in.
Absolutely no fear in Cooper Sanchez. You're coming back later, right?
Maybe, allegedly, possibly. I don't know.
Probably.
I might leave.
Okay.
Who knows?
All right, that's Jason, round 1. We'll swap
Adios.
out. Once again, the hot tag will happen. Jason leaves, and this time we bring in the buddy cop movie. Wow. Yeah, man. Sorry about that. The buddy cop movie. Tyler, wow. Where's that coming from? It's probably from me. Kaylor Hodges, Tyler Pilgrim, get up here, gentlemen. Yes, it is a tight fit.
Thank you.
Man. Wow. All right. I got to figure out what the
you have a fan
issue
club.
is here.
Small.
A small fan club.
Small
okay,
fan.
okay.
All right.
Can I be the bad cop?
There you go. So we will try and navigate this and not be anywhere near a speaker. Maybe it is me. All right. You guys talk.
Hey.
It
Hola.
is me. Maddie, you're in control of this segment.
Whoa, I'm in control?
Congratulations.
Because every time I turn this up, it gives feedback. So I don't know how much I can do.
You're giving
Maybe
me
I'll
a lot,
just be
you're
like
giving
a
me
lot
of
lower
power.
and off camera and asking questions from off camera.
You're giving
Do
me
it
a lot
that
of
way.
power.
Yeah,
Just
there you
saying.
go.
I mean, overall thoughts of the match from both of you guys' perspectives. Just what were your initial thoughts going into the match? And then were any of them changed coming out of it? What did you guys see from the match today?
The first half, I was really impressed with what I was seeing out of the back line. We went to a 3-back system, which we didn't really see a whole lot of last year, which was really nice to see. Matt Van Oekel had a great save first half, and I was like, he is still here. He is nowhere close to retiring. As for the attack, I mean, it was mentioned before, Tabor Teka Preston, unreal. And seeing that 3-4-3 and seeing how the back line connected to the front line so seamlessly, despite only being in preseason for a week, I was so impressed. And then, I mean, second half, some of the trialists were just incredible.
That Trialist family, man, that's a tough family here in Birmingham.
You can't beat them. You cannot beat them.
Tyler, what'd you think?
From an Atlanta perspective, I mean, we're winning MLS Cup, right? It's that simple. I'll take all I need out of the first 30 minutes. No, I thought it was great. I thought Atlanta, they came in with a game plan. They have an identity. Pineda's been there long enough. You know he wants to play out of the back. You know he wants possession with a purpose. And, you know, again, seriously, you can't take a lot out of 30-minute, bits and pieces. But I thought the young guys did outstanding. They showed the fight that Pineda wants to see. That's one of the big things with this preseason is going away, getting results, and being able to fight through adversity. You had the weather today. You had the multiple subs. You had the entire starting 11 coming off. And so, I think overall, you got the right mentality. You saw the mentality that you wanted to see. And if you're an Atlanta fan, that's a good thing to see.
And I mean, obviously Atlanta, they didn't get to see a big picture of what the team looks like, but Birmingham Legion got to see a lot more of what that team could look like put together. So from your perspective, Birmingham Legion coming into this season, I mean, how powerful are they going to be?
If this is the style of soccer that we're going to be seeing all year long, it's going to be a fun season for Birmingham Legion fans. Last year, there was a little bit of defensive issues along the way. If the 3-back is the answer, I love that 3-back. If the attack that we're seeing out of this team was very fluid, you saw one of a longtime players, Prosper Kasim, playing to our new player. I think it was Turi up top for them, who you didn't even know that he hadn't been on the team for a week. I was very impressed, and I think that tonight raised expectations because I think a lot of Legion fans saw lack of signings and saw lack of ambition. But when you see the team on paper tonight, you realize maybe they didn't need to make signings to be successful. They already had the pieces ready.
So let me separate groups 1 and 2 from group number 3. And I will ask you the question that we wrapped up with Jason. And you can take it group 1 and 2 and group 3. Who impressed you today in group 1 and 2 and separately in group number 3? Because like I said, we've been talking young kids 15, 16 years old in that group, in that third group. So that's why I wanted to put that separator there for you. Group 1 and 2, group number 3.
Group 1 and 2, the easy answer, I could agree with Jason for sure. I mean, Nick Firmino was outstanding. The fact that he's so versatile is a really good thing to have, especially in a position where you don't have a lot of depth at that number 10. But I think out of the first two, the one that kind of stood out to me was Noah Cobb. I think he's growing, but physically he never stops growing, it seems like. But also he is that guy that you can see the maturity happening as we've watched him with the twos and the little bit of time he's had with the first team. And so it's been impressive to see. He's that Miles, we talked about it. He's that Miles Robinson-esque kind of, he's quiet, handles business, does the job. And I thought he didn't really have a step wrong today. The third group, again, I can agree easily with Jason. Cooper Sanchez was outstanding. But I got to go to Efrain Morales as well. To me, it was about the defending today. I really wanted to take a look at the defenders, not only for the defensive capabilities, but also watching them and how they help play out of the back and how they help break pressure and the movement. And I thought Noah Cobb in the second, third.
Yes.
And second, third. And Efrain Morales in the last bit, I think they did really well. And they're 3A and B or 4A and B in the depth chart. So they were the ones that kind of just stood out to me.
Hanging out with Tyler Pilgrim from Dirty South Soccer at Dirty South SOC on the 280 character app. Kaylor Hodges, who is a guest on Soccer Down Here when he's able to find conference rooms that no one knocks on doors in.
That was just my classroom.
So you hit in your classroom.
Yes.
So at Kaylor Hodges at the USL show, hanging out with us to break down Birmingham Legion from his perspective and Tyler from the ATL perspective. Maddie, go for it.
In your opinion, I'll ask kind of the same question as well. Who was your MVP of the match tonight?
It kind of depends because there was a lot of good things that I saw along the way. I heard Tyler Pasher mention, I thought what he was doing on and off the ball was really impressive. Tabor Preston had a fantastic match. You could see what he brings technically, speed-wise. I thought it was really, really impressive. Obviously, to be formally unnamed since he was released as just trialist. So trialist 14, I think, showed a lot of faith. He to be named later. But I think
I'm looking forward to trialist 25 myself.
He was okay. But honestly, I was really impressed by the new loanee from St. Louis City, Miguel Perez, who is the other part of the teenage midfield partnership between Matthew Corcoran and Miguel Perez. And Miguel Perez, who I thought was going to be more of a defensive midfielder side of a double pivot, he proved to be more of an attacker and was getting up higher and higher. And he didn't really show that in his locker in MLS, and he did tonight against the MLS first team. And I was extremely impressed with what I saw with him, and I hope it's more to come.
Folks were commenting on our Twitch pitch, said the team looked great. More so, one of our viewer listeners forgot that they were missing Almada, Wiley, Mosqueda, and the Polish hammer, Bart Sleesh. I mean, all of that stuff, Tyler, was not a part of the equation today, and you got to see two defensive ends as center backs, basically, and Stian Gregerson and Derek Williams. Ronald Hernandez on the left, and the activity on the right-hand side with Aiden working forward as well. What's it been like for you to see the new faces come drifting in?
I think it's comforting in a way as a fan, as somebody that loves the team first and foremost. Like, I think you're always worried about depth. You're always worried about who's going to fill in the spot, because you look at Atlanta United this season, they have so many guys going out for international duty. You got Copa America coming up. You have just Euros. You have everything going on this year. And to be able to see Firmino come in and handle the number 10 spot like he did and get a goal out of it, he's playing with just his hair's on fire, And then down the wing, I mean, Aiden McFadden coming back from Memphis. We talked to him a little bit, and he seems confident. He seems like, he's really going to challenge Brooks Lennon as much as he possibly can to get minutes on this first team. I don't think he's okay with just sticking to the twos. And so as a fan, that's what you want to see. You want to see the competition. You want to see the fight. And you want to know that come, the first international break of the year, you don't go up to Columbus and lose 6-1, right? You don't lose all your momentum like we did last season. So I think it's just comforting. That's my biggest thing. And then the patience with this team. It was one of the first things I noticed in the first 10 or 15 minutes. Even with your, obviously, preseason, not your prime starting 11, the fact that they came out and it was the first 3 minutes almost of just them playing patiently, passing. Nobody really set a foot wrong. And it was, you can see the identity and you can see that everybody's buying into it. And so it's good to see. It's refreshing.
Well, I think it's also nice too to have the depth of just like in any team, I believe. Like if you have that depth, you have players who can step up to the challenge and who you can trust to have in that field. When you're missing Almada, when you're missing those players, you have a player like Firmino who can step up and, be that number 10 for the team, which is important.
Yeah, I agree. And I think ultimately, like that was one of the bigger question marks, because really on paper, the team has decent depth. Left back, right back, I think there were question marks before today, but then Aiden McFadden comes out there and does well. Ronald Hernandez comes out there and does well. Ronnie's, to me, he's like the jack of all trades. You can put him in and he'll do the job. But, I think you maybe put aside a little bit of the worry. Again, it's preseason. It was 30 minutes apiece. But I think you can take some good things out of this.
All right, Kaylor, my turn to ask you a question. When you look at this roster and how stacked it is at places, how entertaining it's been, and with all the hidden gems that it seems like Tommy Sohn and Jay Heaps have pulled in this year, when you look at USL Championship and Birmingham Legion's place in it as we get ready for, actual training camp for you guys, because you've only been at it a week, right?
Yep.
So as you guys hit your rhythm and you look at USL Championship, before your visits come back to SDH and you and everybody else at the USL show come and get us smart about what's going on there, look at the USL Championship this year, Birmingham's place in it, and what you're anticipating right now with what you've seen.
It's hard to say, obviously, without being able to watch any of the other teams. You're looking at names on paper and trying to stack yourself against that, right? And games are obviously not one on paper. When you look at teams like North Carolina FC, who I think could be contending for the top of the table next year. I know a lot of people are focused on Rhode Island, but I think the bigger story is North Carolina. Rhode Island's obviously joined the mix. Tampa Bay is still Tampa Bay. Louisville City has signed 2 or 3 all-league players. Charleston has reloaded along the way. Legion are going to be in a dogfight to stay in the top 6, and obviously you need to be in the top 4 to get home playoffs. But you heard earlier with Jay Heaps, home playoffs is the goal. A home playoff win is the goal. Seeing what I saw tonight, I think that's obtainable. But when you look at the depth of this roster, it's hard to say that we're not one injury away to say that you're competing just to make the playoffs. And that's not a place you really want to be. But if you say, hey, trialist, whomever from the trialist family gets signed, say all of them, if we're lucky, right? I think you look at that team and say, this is a team that compete throughout the year. And I think they could be competing for that home playoff spot.
All right, hit the promos for me, guys. Kaler, for everybody that wants to know what's going on in USL at the USL show, hit the promo for me real quick.
Can't explicitly say what's coming next for the USL show, but I can tell you this: check out Prime Focus Goalkeeping, and there's a new show on the way. Super excited about it. Kit season is fully in swing, so if you
I believe we call
Kit,
that a tease in the industry.
Kit season is out, so if you want to see how the guys at Kit season rate the new Birmingham Legion Lady Electric kit, you can check that out.
We like that.
At the USL show on Twitter, the Bird app, 280 character, whatever you want to call it, and YouTube, anywhere you want to find us.
Always great to catch up with my friends. Same deal. Hit the promo for me.
For me, it's at ATL Pilgrim personally, but Dirty South SOC, Dirty South Soccer, and Scarves, the letter N Spikes over on the Bird app, the X, whatever we're calling it nowadays.
The 280 character app. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us, especially after a wet, monsoonish match where we got to see a lot of promise. I know Kaler's now got a perm going after being out in that rain.
I was cold. That's the reason I look like I'm dressed nice.
Yeah, you went to flannel, man. You changed your clothes.
This is what I wore earlier today at work. This was dry. And the other stuff was freezing.
That's the only characteristic. It was dry.
Yes, I was so cold.
Guys, we'll catch up with you soon. Thanks for hanging out.
Which one of us was bad cop?
You, because you have more facial hair.
All right, I'll take that.
Yeah, you get the full beard. You get the full beard, the leather jacket, and everything. You know, Kaler's the good cop.
Yeah.
But he's prone to those moments of surprise, like when you're outgunned at like you're wandering into an establishment. You see a lot of guys that are there, and there's like 7 of them and the 2 of you. And it's the episode where he surprises you, like he knows, like he's a brown belt in Taekwondo or something. Takes out everybody.
See, the only time I'm the bad cop is whenever it's Dell in the chat asking if I got a haircut. No, it's just a receding hairline. Stop asking.
Guys, once again, thanks for hanging out for the Good Cop, Bad Cop buddy movie of Kaler and Tyler. Thanks a lot, guys.
Love you, Dell.
Kaler Hodges, USL Show, Tyler Pilgrim, Dirty South Soccer. Man. Now it's time for the final part of the show where we bring in Scott Flood of the Flood Project, the man who is behind a lot of this stuff. Once again, thanks to our friends at Kaiser Permanente, who are great sponsors of everything that we do at Soccer Down here. Jason will come back, and we will drop everything and find out what is on their mind before we go. Once again, thanks to our friends at Ghost Train for being fantastic hosts. Scott's talking. Scott is talking.
Scott's talking.
Scott, it is time for you, sir.
Wave to everyone, Scott.
Wave to everyone from the back and just kind of do the imitation palatial wave.
We will as well. I know we've had some questions on social. Have we gotten those?
Yeah, we got those.
Have we asked anybody here if they would like to come up and ask a question?
Not. It's the tail end of the show where you get to kind of hang out.
Do you want to come hang out, or do you not? Are you being shy today?
Are you going to just be over off camera and take my position? Folks sit there and they think that the show looks best when I'm off camera. Yes, people
are wanting you off camera.
Yeah, because that way I don't break the lens.
Oh, well.
Is that still your first beer?
What?
Is that still your first beer?
Yes, I'm sipping.
Oh,
I was working today, Scott.
We have a viewer on the Twitch pitch.
We have a viewer on the Twitch pitch.
From Argentina.
Very cool.
Alec Pacnita, hello from Argentina, from South America. I don't know if you could say Messi is better than Cristiano Ronaldo.
I can absolutely say Lionel Messi is much better than Cristiano Ronaldo. And I had this argument with somebody about hey, Ronaldo's a great player. Ronaldo, great player. No problem at all. Lionel Messi is the GOAT.
Yes.
GOAT. And in terms of bringing somebody to MLS who can do the things that Messi does for the league, Ronaldo would not. Messi does. Lionel Messi is better than Cristiano Ronaldo. Hola, Argentina. I've always got your back.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
Second.
I think Abel Pastana right over there, the Portuguese consulate to Atlanta's wants a moment for rebuttal.
Sorry. I am a longtime Argentina fan. If you know the show, I've talked about this a million times. I know. Sorry, you're going to deal with it again. I fell in love with the game because of Diego Maradona in 1986. I saw him in the World Cup. I was hooked forever. I wanted a blue and white striped shirt. I wanted to wear number 10, all of that. So I was an absolute wreck watching that last World Cup final when we had the viewing party at the Roxy in Buckhead. I was a mess. Alex Pacine, one of our loyal listeners, I think has video of me being a mess watching that game.
Yes,
I told
there
him I
is.
don't want to see it and to never publicize that.
It's out there somewhere.
Probably it is. Everything is.
Colonel wants to know, Tyler, as I look off camera, when the next Spaces is going to be.
Tyler, when is your next Spaces going to be? After Saturday in Athens?
After Saturday in Athens, Colonel, that answers the question.
And we might have a post game show in Athens as well. That is still TBD, but a
Working on it.
possibility.
Working on it.
I have an update for you that you don't even know about yet.
Ooh.
Seriously, why am I
Wow,
here?
you're-
Well,
What
you
am I doing?
got
You're
everything
not
set
gonna
up for us to be at Ghost Train Brewing in wonderful Birmingham, Alabama.
I know.
Exactly.
This place is great. I mean,
I
we were
love
here
Ghost
2
Train.
years ago, but not in this location, in their old location. This is about 8,000 times bigger. But I have a question.
You have
Can
a
I
question.
submit my own question?
Uh-oh.
What's your question?
Okay.
How many people here in this audience absolutely love Atlanta United's next preseason opponent, Memphis?
I know Birmingham does not care for Memphis at all.
Yeah,
Wow.
knew that was coming.
Wow.
They woke up and they chose violence. I mean,
Wow.
No,
Wow.
they didn't wake up and choose it. They've had it. It has been
It's-
there when it comes to
it's been
Memphis
brewing.
901.
I do remember the last time we were here at Ghost Train's old location, and the fervor,
We were verbally
Yeah.
the
accosted.
hatred
There was
for
some,
Memphis was palpable.
There
It
was some
still
very
is.
Yes, there have been some very vile things said about Memphis in our times in Birmingham. That is true. I do have to let you guys know that I don't have the hatred for Memphis because a good friend of the show, a good friend of ours, Stephen Glass,
Yes.
is the manager of Memphis 901 these days.
True.
So I respect your hatred. I cannot partake.
Correct.
I have like 5 minutes for some questions, and then I have to be on the radio again.
Okay. Not a shock.
Yeah, you know, it happens.
Is he big timing us? Did he
Yes,
just big
I
time us?
just big
He
time
just
you.
big timed
Yes.
us.
Wow. Wow.
Okay.
What? Are you gonna like do something?
No, I was
John,
waiting for-
John, I
was-
like how
was
on the
listening for questions.
on the
Does it-
X YouTube feed here, you've got Maddie and myself and Jason, but you've completely cut yourself
Why
off.
did you?
There's
cut-
this anonymous host voice going on.
John's just off to the side.
Well, because when you have a four shot and there are two large individuals in the middle, you have to make some sacrifices.
What do you what
that
why
was-
why
that was
why,
harsh.
Why did
That
you have
was
to
harsh.
say large?
I
What-
don't know.
what does
why.
that mean?
I don't know why I had to say
That wasn't
He-
cool.
There were different.
Feel
If
kind of
If
attacked.
anyone here
Kind of
hanging out
attacked.
has a question about today's game or about Atlanta United or about
Come on,
Birmingham
Abel.
Legion, come on up.
Say
and-
something,
and
Abel.
We'll take a question or two.
You got nothing.
Kev C had some comments about Cohen and net today. Great to see him between the sticks.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really get to see like a lot out of each of the goalkeepers. I thought Cohen showed his experience, his composure. The big save that he made where he kind of pushed it to the side, went and grabbed it, wet ball after the monsoon, smart. Cohen's a smart guy. Believe in college, his major, I'm pretty sure he graduated from the University of San Diego. His major was mechanical engineering.
Whoa.
Yeah, pretty smart guy. Yeah, there's
Is
that.
that you, Will?
Yeah. Cohen's good people though.
I got a question.
What's your
I can give
question?
you a question. What are we most looking forward to with Atlanta United in 2024? Who are you most wanting to see? And then we're gonna also talk about USL right after that, like the most intriguing aspects of the USL that you're looking at?
So for Atlanta, Sean De Silva with a full season.
Yep.
And a full preseason. Sean is just insane with his 1v1 ability, his technical ability. Sean he's crazy too, I think, from what most people say. He's kind of nuts. He's beloved in the locker room, but he's kind of the life of the party. So Sean
Magic City kind of.
No, I did not know. No, Scott, why do you have to go there?
Magic City Brigade,
Whoa.
Birmingham is what I meant. What
Birmingham's
is he
the Magic
about?
City. Yes,
that's
Sean Day.
That's a
Sean Day
good
did well.
attempt at a recovery.
Yeah.
See, I covered that. Tim.
Let's move on. Sean Day, really talented, and I think getting a full preseason. He talked about in the playoffs last year how he was kind of feeling the effects of coming straight off of another season, not getting a full preseason. I want to see him from the jump with fitness. I think that's going to be huge.
Who is
the
let me ask
USL
you-
part.
Let me ask you
Okay.
of the young players,
Yep.
kids that are still coming up that we're bringing up that we've either had up from the twos
Uh-huh.
that we're working out now through the preseason. Whatever. Who is somebody you've got? I've got somebody in mind that I want to see more from, and I'm excited to see from. But who are you wanting to see more from because of their potential? You like what you're seeing. You want to see more of.
I mean, we're going to see it mostly with the twos, probably all with the twos this year, but Aiden Torres, 16 years old, a pit bull in the midfield. A lot of good experience with him with Atlanta United 2 last year in the second half. I want to see a full year from him, and just the things that happen when you're, a 16-year-old player and you got a little bit of experience. Now I want to see confidence every game. I want to see on and off the ball work. He's got all the ability to be a Major League Soccer player for Atlanta United. This is a big year for him. So I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of him with the second team.
For me, Luke Brennan. I'm looking forward to see Luke Brennan take those next steps. We saw it in the cup of coffee that he had with the first team with Nicholas Firmino on the field. But I'm looking for Luke and those next steps from him, Noah Cobb as well, to see the next steps from him.
I'm going to second that with Brennan. I think Brennan was he was kind of like a player that you wouldn't think of when it happened, but he had a lot of great chances, a lot of great moments on the ball. I really liked his movement on it. He's quick and he gets places where it needs to be. We've broken record about it, but also again, Nick Firmino. I think Nick Firmino is going to have such an amazing season with the first team. I'm getting to watch him a little bit from the twos last season. I mean, he's just a great player, and I'm excited to see him develop and grow in the MLS. It's going to be great.
I feel like Firmino will get about 10 to 15 games in MLS and probably about 10 to 15 in the twos.
Absolutely.
And
I'm okay with that.
And he's mine, Firmino. I saw what
Love
the
Nick's game.
small sample we got with the big club last year, but he just has that something, and I don't know exactly what that is. I'm just
Swagger.
Yeah, he's got a little bit. He's got that hunger for it. He's got that.
Swagger.
You can see it in his play, and I liked it, and I like because United's history with our goal scorers, has been wrapped largely around Joseph Martinez and now currently Giakoumakis. I like Firmino, and I like the game that we saw him score last year, and I don't know. There's something about that. I'm rooting for him. He just seems to have that oomph behind him, and I like it. He's if he can fine tune a couple of things, he's got the charisma, and he's got that personality. He's at least on the field that you see that could make him a star in that way. Now the technical ability's got to come along with it.
No, I disagree with that. I think he's just a different kind of player. He's technical, but he's not a Thiago Almada kind of 10. Like he's not that smooth technically, but he's got great touch, great passer. I think he's a better playmaker than he gets credit for. But he's got goals in him. He's kind of a forwards mentality. Like he's not a 9, but he can play like a 9, but he can play like a 10. He can play on the wing. That versatility is so important for him.
Do you see him as somebody that could end up falling into that Vasquez kind of role where he's there and he's doing well, but we've got others that are doing well for us, and he could end up being shipped off somewhere?
No, not exactly, because he's not a 9 purely, but in terms of getting games either off the bench or when Almada is away with national team duty or however things shake out. Yeah, I mean, Firmino will get games like that, but he'll be in a different position. hopefully he doesn't go anywhere. I mean, look, that's part of it. When you're a guy who's on the bench in one place and you want to be a starter somewhere else, sometimes you got to go somewhere else to be that. And that just happens. But I'd love to see Firmino be here for a long time. I think he gets a year where he's getting 10 to 15 games in MLS. He's going to be seen differently around the league.
You got to go and do.
I got to
thing,
go.
Right? So who
You
won
gotta
the
go.
Women's Royal Rumble?
Bailey won the Women's Royal Rumble tonight.
So this will be the next step in the stage of the dissolution of damage control.
Oh, of course. It'll be a fun story.
You got to do stuff.
I got to go do stuff.
All right. So
Adios.
Go do stuff.
Jason Longshore, everybody.
That's It's always fun to catch up with Jason. Can't thank him enough for all the time that he spends with us and telling stories and all that. So Scott comes back in, as do I, into the frame, and we'll wrap up the show. First off, thanks to all of y'all for being here. All the Birmingham Legion supporters, thanks to the Magic City Brigade and all you guys for coming in today and showing off Lady Electra. That is a hell of a jersey.
I want it.
Right there. There it is.
Listen.
But thanks to our friends
Jay?
in Birmingham here at Ghost Train. Thanks to all of our friends who've made the trip,
I'm counting
From
Jay on
Huntsville.
getting me one.
who've made it here. Will, fantastic. Great to see you. Any other stuff from you, sir, about what's been going on? Maddie?
Oh, me? I'm just saying. I hope Jay's right on his promise, and I'm gonna get one of those jerseys because
Yeah.
I want one.
Oh, yeah.
I want one so bad.
You talked to Jay Heaps.
I did, and he told me I would. So I believe him. I think I'm gonna get one.
Oh, and we found out the majors for Josh Cohen, by the way. Bioengineering and computer science.
Wow.
He's a real dummy.
Nerd. What's up, Huntsville?
But no, this was fun. Once again, it was great to come out here to our friends at Ghost Train.
Absolutely. Look, I want to take a second. Terminus Legion.
In the back.
Hi. Thank every one of y'all for coming out. Thank you so much. Abel, if you would shut up for 10 seconds, and everybody else can get a word in edgewise. Magic City Brigade.
There you all are. There it is.
There you go. That's a fine Memphis hating group if I've ever seen one. I don't know.
But no, it was fun.
Anybody in the room from Huntsville? Love you for coming.
Oh, wow. Wait a minute.
People,
that came from an unexpected
I was going to say,
location.
that's some thunder stealing that I hear from the other side of the room. Look, we were here 2 years ago at the old location for Ghost Train.
Yeah.
And a lot of things. They've gotten bigger, and we have expanded quite a bit, too. And there's a lot of things that are really awesome to watch happen over the course of time. And the fact that we have somebody sitting here right here to my right, and the fact that's helping us, and Maddie, is a huge testament to that. It's awesome that you're here, Maddie, and that you're doing stuff.
She's a
to
morning
help
show
further
producer in charge of the ones and twos on Soccer Down Here Daily, 9:05 Eastern to 11:05. Plus all of her contributions as a Newcastle fan. Please try not to hold that against her.
And just to be back here in Birmingham. Birmingham is such an awesome city. The soccer fans here are amazing. The Legion is amazing. Thank you so much to Jay Heaps.
Yep.
I worked through Tim Sullivan with the Legion that helped me get all of this organized. It's being able to go around and work with all of these folks, whether we're in Chattanooga, Greenville, Tormenta, down in Statesboro, here in Birmingham, no matter in Huntsville, hopefully very soon. We're working on, talk to John Nelson right here. Thank you very much. Don't look at me. Thanks. But
He just makes it all happen.
It's amazing to see the growth, to see the things that we're seeing. You look fantastic in that uniform right there, dude. You're looking at me. Hey, that a boy. Pose it for me. There you go. This has just been an amazing night. I cannot thank everybody for coming out. Kaylor, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Tyler, thank you so much for coming out. We go way back, all of 47 minutes ago. It's amazing. Dude, thank you so much for coming out.
Incredible.
This is about the growth of the sport in the Southeast. And what we aim to be is that voice across the entire Southeast. more so than any other entity. And it's you that helps us do that. Community and the soccer community specifically helps make that happen. You guys coming out and being a part of this, you create the atmosphere, you create everything that we do. I can't thank y'all enough. So thank you from me personally.
Thanks to our friends at Kaiser Permanente, Subaru of Gwinnett. Any other sponsors that I need to hit before we go? Oh, Reverb Hotel in Atlanta.
All that have nothing to do with it. Yes, Reverb Hotel. Yeah, absolutely. And we have an exciting, unbelievable new high school program, platform that's coming up that we're going to be covering over 25, I think, games over the high school season in Atlanta. It's going to be amazing. So we've got some new stuff coming with that. There's a lot of exciting things coming later this year. We're looking at possibly a FIFA tournament that we're looking at.
Never heard of it.
FIFA's coming here to do. We're going to host the World Cup, but kickoff. How can I forget Christian? Kickoff coffee.
Yeah, Kickoff
Christian.
Coffee.
Way to go, John. Way to
Kickoff
drop the ball on that
coffee,
one.
co.com. Thank you.
That's Florida State for you.
There you go.
Wow. Education down there in the Gulf
that was a
Panhandle.
good move. Thanks to the boss for reminding us about Kickoff Coffee. But no, thanks to Jay Heaps, thanks to the Legion, thanks to Jason, who is now on 92.9 The Game, thanks to Kaler, thanks to Tyler, thanks to you, thanks to Kaiser, thanks to Subaru of Gwinnett, thanks to all of you guys that were here at Ghost Train Brewing, thanks to Ghost Train Brewing for hosting us once again and not kicking us out of the building. We made it.
John Avent from Ghost Train, thank you. Yes, wherever you're at.
He's back there somewhere. So from all of us to all of you, thanks a lot once again. Soccer Down Here Daily Radio, 9:05 Eastern Time, 9:05 to 11:05 Eastern, every single day on all of the social media platforms. Download the app as well, and you can listen to it there, soccerdownhere.net, all the other things. All the social medias.
Central Time as well.
Do what?
We got to get that in Central Time. We're in Central Time.
8:05 to
There we
10:05
go.
in the morning. Yes,
You're welcome.
Since we
got
are in
y'all.
the Central Time Zone, I guess I should, 8:05 to 10:05-ish. We run
He wonders
long
why
a
ESPN
lot.
hasn't called him yet.
We go long a lot, Monday through Friday. We've got guests and talk stuff, so app, all that. So
Florida State, you don't know what time it is.
I'm going to shut this down so I can talk to that man. So thanks to all of you from all of us. Thanks for hanging out for us at Ghost Train. Thanks for being around. Since it's the end of the show, that means we get to shut it down. Mucha plati, I'll play it safe, and we will catch up with you next time.